Now, US President Donald Trump has signed an order imposing higher tariffs on dozens of countries in his latest bid to reshape global trade in favor of US businesses. However, in a minor reprieve, the White House said the measures will take effect in a week, not this Friday as previously expected, which is today. That's the 1st of August. So this was the condition which was imposed earlier. However, it will now take effect in about a week's time. The duties ranged as high as 41% on Syria and also included 30% on South Africa, 25% on India, 20% for Taiwan. Separately, the White House also announced that Canadian imports will face tariffs of 35% and not the current 25%, pardon me. Mexico will continue to face 25% tariffs for the next 90 days. The decision to keep the rate steady was taken after Trump's call with his Mexican counterpart Claudia Sheinbaum. An exemption for Canadian and Mexican goods entering the country under a North American trade pact also remained in place. The Trump administration said the universal tariff will remain at 10%, the same level implemented on the 2nd of April, for countries the US has a trade surplus with, which is most of them. Nations which the US has a trade deficit with faces a 15% floor. So far, Washington announced pacts with Britain, Vietnam, Japan, Indonesia, the Philippines, South Korea, and the European Union. But details of those agreements have so far remained vague. In a statement on Thursday, Trump said, some countries have agreed to or are on the verge of agreeing to meaningful trade and security commitments with the US, while others either did not engage in negotiations with the US or have offered terms that, in his judgment, do not sufficiently address imbalances in their trade relationship or have failed to align sufficiently with the United States on economic and national security matters. The latest salvo came amid legal challenges against Trump's use of emergency economic powers. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit on Thursday heard arguments in cases brought against Trump's blanket tariffs targeting different countries as questions linger over the effectiveness of Trump's grand plans or even whether he will hold firm on his most dramatic threats. For more on this, we were earlier joined by Raymond E. Vickery. He is a senior associate at the Center for Strategic and International Studies, and here's what he had to say about this.
I think that it shows the weakness of this approach to international trade. It can't be the case that you just go in and try to create a fortress America economically, that we don't need the rest of the world and we're gonna cut them off. Now, there are issues such as the Russian issue which ought to be addressed. There's no question that Russia, in my mind, has violated the UN Charter, non-aggression. This is an imperialistic approach which India has opposed imperialism from the very start. And India needs to think about what it's doing in regard to Russia. But that does not mean that you simply go in and on a unilateral basis say you do what I tell you to, or you're going to be cut off completely. I think that that there is very little understanding on the part of President Trump of the dynamics of security and economic relations in all of South Asia. You see that he's reached some sort of agreement, and of course on all these agreements, you can't really tell what the agreement is because they haven't been released and they're just frameworks. But what he's done with Pakistan and linking Pakistan with India is counterproductive and counter to what Republican and Democratic presidents all the way from Bill Clinton through George W. Bush, Obama, and even in the first administration of Trump have done. And it is not at all productive of long-term peace and prosperity, either for India, for the United States, or for the world.